We're joined this morning by Marlon Livingston, the president and CEO of Cunningham Children's Home, and we're talking today about being a foster parent, Marlon. So what are some things that people who are considering this should maybe ask themselves before they sign up to do this?
Well, I'd encourage them to take a first step. I've talked to a lot of folks who said, that we want to do that someday, and I think today hopefully might be that someday. One thing you want to do is take an inventory of what your motivations are. You need to have a good support system. We partner with you as a foster parent, but it's pretty important to have a support system around you. Parenting is tough work, so that's kind of one of the first steps you want to take is assess your motivations and take an inventory of some of those support systems you have around you.
And you kind of want to look at your own qualities too, right? I mean, patience is going to be a big one here.
Patience is important. There's no perfect parents, but again, what we try to do is take an inventory, get to know those parents through the process, and then match kids up with those characteristics that the parents possess, those competencies with the kids and the interests of the kids. So it's a longer process and it's somewhat intrusive, but it works.
Another thing to talk about, too, is oftentimes, unfortunately, the children we're talking about in these situations have dealt with abuse and neglect in their life. How does that play into whether or not you should be a foster parent, or what kind of questions you should ask yourself?
Well, what we do as part of that process, and you're exactly right, several of our children have trauma histories, and that does require quite a bit of patience. It requires that you work part of a team. Many of our children receive therapeutic services. We have case managers, and you're really kind of part of a treatment team, if you will, to help the children heal, and ideally put the family back together so the child can either return home or find that forever family.
What about taking a look at your own family situation? Maybe if you have children, what are some things you should ask yourself about whether fostering a child would then be right for you as well?
Well, it's interesting that if you do have biological children, or children of your own anyway, in your family, depending on their ages, you should have a conversation maybe with those children, your children, and with your extended families, grandparents, aunts, uncles, all can play an important role as part of this journey, being a foster parent. And so we would ask our parents, particularly if the children, for instance, are teenagers or preteens, to have a conversation about introducing a new family member into their home.
And that kind of goes along with some of the other questions you said we should ask ourselves about whether or not this is the right time in your life and whether or not you have enough love to give. Certainly two good questions. What about the qualifications, though, for becoming a foster parent?
Well, as you might guess, there's some background checks. And so what we do is there's certain criminal background events that would prevent some folks from being foster parents.
Right.
You need to have a safe home. And so there's an inspection that we do of the home, and we look around. So again, we want a safe, nurturing home for the kids, and so we do a background check for all not only the parents, but anyone over the age of 13 that's living in the home. We do a background check on through the state. So.
Okay. And then on the flip side, we're going to take a quick look at some of the things that would maybe make someone ineligible to be a foster parent. As you mentioned, certain crimes that had been committed, unresolved mental health issues, or substance abuse. That is certainly something you guys will be taking a look at as well.
Sure. It's a little bit of an intrusive process, and I think it's a big responsibility. And so I think most folks understand the intrusive nature of going through what I consider the licensing process. And there are questions about mental health histories, substance abuse histories, et cetera, because they're charged with a pretty big responsibility. And so we just want to make sure that they're going into a healthy, nurturing home.
Right. And there is a lot of support, though, for these parents. Let's talk a little bit about things that, for example, like Cunningham Children's Home would provide for a parent.
Well, we have 24-hour on-call, so that's real important. We actually pride ourselves on returning phone calls of our foster parents, so that customer service there is very important to us. You work as part of a team. We have ongoing training, another critical part of the process. And so that teaming effort, I just can't emphasize that enough as being critical in working with the biological family, working with the working with the foster parents and working with the system, if you will, it's very important. And so we have fairly low turnover in our foster care program, and so our workers are top-notch, and that's another critical part that we really kind of pride ourselves on at Cunningham, that we have some just very talented staff members that can get our foster parents the right information when they need it.
What if people are concerned about the financial obligation that would come along with taking on another child?
Well, there is a stipend involved in helping offset some of the cost of having foster children in your home. We pay for some incidentals as well, and so I don't consider the financial position really a detriment to someone considering to be a foster parent. That monthly stipend, it really depends on the age of the child, their needs, etc. And so if you're willing to be a therapeutic foster parent, which is accepting children with really more intense trauma histories, there's additional stipends that we pay because those children need additional care above and beyond maybe what a traditional foster child might need.
Okay, and real quickly, let's go ahead and take a look at the numbers. You say there is an urgent need for foster parents, particularly in Central Illinois. Tell us why that is.
Well, it is a system where when we take children into our foster care program, we either try to return them home or we achieve what they call permanency, and that's either when we have our foster parents agree to long-term guardianship or adoption for these children. And that's a great celebration because they found a forever family. On the other side, that's a foster family in some cases that we lose. You know, they stop fostering or stop fostering for a while, and so it is a process that we continue on an ongoing effort to recruit foster parents, and something that we can't really rest on, because the other important part about foster parenting is the more foster parents you have in your pool, the better matches you can make for those children around certain characteristics. It's going to make that home successful.
Sure.
And the more choices you have, the more placement stability there is for that child, and the better chances to find a forever family. And so that's why we're never going to be done recruiting foster parents. We never have enough foster parents, and why shows like this is just a great opportunity for us to talk about the need.
All right, Marlon, thanks so much. And here's some information, the number that you can call if you are interested in becoming a foster parent yourself.